Hello, book lovers, and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins, and today I'm talking to author Cheryl Meyer. Cheryl is the author of the book It Feels Good to Feel Good. This book is for anyone with chronic pain looking for answers. You don't have to resign yourself to a life of pain and pills, Cheryl says. In this book, you'll learn what is causing your pain and how to eliminate it, how to find a practitioner that will help you gain back your health, reduce your inflammation, and feel great again. Cheryl also coaches private clients and groups on the same subjects. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for coming on back on Book Talk Radio Club to talk about your award-winning book.
Thank you, Claire. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. You are a true professional, and it's delightful to do an interview with you.
Oh, thank you very much. How nice. Well, you say in your second chapter of your book, people are resigned that as they age, they are going to feel a lot of pain. They seem to think that pain is their lot in life. Well, unfortunately, this is very true, the fact that they're resigned to pain. Tell me why you say this, Cheryl.
Let me go back 1 second and tell you the reason that I wrote the book was because I got autoimmune disease and I had no idea what I had. I knew I had pain. I didn't know what caused it, so I started to research.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I have eliminated my inflammation and my pain, I'm out in the public sharing my message, and I come across people all the time who think that the fact that they wake up in the morning and they have brain fog or they have chronic fatigue or their elbow or their shoulder hurts or their knees are always bothering them, all the little aches and pains that they consider to be part of age are not necessarily part of age at all. They're all caused by chronic inflammation. And they're little signs that they need to clean up that inflammation because inflammation is what causes the majority of chronic illness
Right.
in the human body. So it's really critical that they understand that is not their lot in life. There is no magic pill, and it's not that difficult to clean up the inflammation once you accept that that's what's going on with your body.
Exactly. I mean, you talk about inflammation and the fact that people are oblivious to it. What are the signs of inflammation and what causes it?
Well, I wish I had realized these signs because I had the majority of them before I got full-blown autoimmune disease.
Right.
It's muscle aches and pain, joint pain, swellness. I used to look in the mirror some mornings. Some mornings I looked pretty. Some other days I was all puffy. That's inflammation. Headaches, brain fog,
Yeah.
swelling. Constipation is a biggie.
Oh, really?
Asthma, skin problems,
Right.
eczema, and psoriasis. Even a lot of acne is inflammation.
Right.
Hives and rashes. Hay fever is inflammation. I had serious hay fever. Digestive issues, and that's one of the biggies because one of the things inflammation does is create something called leaky gut, and leaky gut is the root of disease.
Right.
Acid reflux, an issue with weight, suddenly gaining weight, all of that is inflammation. But we don't recognize it as that. We just think, oh, I ate too much, or oh, I have a little pain this morning. If you clean up your diet and you clean up the toxins in your life, there are several things that cause leaky gut, which is where inflammation is doing its worst damage. If you clean up those things, the two biggies that I cleaned up right away when I started reading about it were stress, which is incredibly horrific. And we also seem to think that we're supposed to be chased by a tiger 24/7, that level of stress is good for us, and it is not.
No.
I had almost no cortisol left in my body by the time I got sick, but I wasn't to Addison's disease yet, so my doctor didn't see it as a problem.
Right.
When I got to a different kind of doctor, my functional doctor, she reacted immediately, and I have learned breathing exercises to reset my parasympathetic nervous system so the stress level is completely weighted. But the other biggie is toxins, and toxins are literally everywhere. When I started finding where they were in my life, I was truly appalled. And in the United States, we deal with a lot more toxins than you do in the EU, but the whole world is using American products, and they are filled with toxic chemicals and synthetic things. You have a problem with fragrance. That's because those are synthetic ingredients that are not good for us, and we are being attacked by these synthetic ingredients in all aspects of our life. And they are doing damage to our body and damage to our gut, which is what's causing disease. So it's really important that you pay attention to where the inflammation is in your body, and then that you take a proactive approach to eliminating all these toxins and the stress from your life so that you get back your long-term health. And I really don't want people to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, which is what finally got me to pay attention. When you have pain, then it becomes a whole new game that you don't want to live that way.
Sure.
And a lot of times we can make the changes long before we reach the point that I reached, and we can be proactive to not get to that point. The most interesting thing that I discovered is it's all about toxic load. So each toxin that you remove is one step closer to health.
Yes.
And there's little signs along the way. First, I had a problem with my underarm deodorant, made my arms rash or blister. Then it was my mascara. My eyes were always itchy. Then I had a problem with fragrances, like you. I couldn't breathe. Well, that was because of all those toxins in the air from the synthetic ingredients. And then finally, I woke up one morning with my mouth and my tongue swollen, my eyes swollen. That should have been the 2x4 that hit me over the head that told me something was going on with my body that was not good. But the final stage was I woke up one morning and I literally couldn't get out of bed. There was not a muscle or a joint in my body that didn't hurt. So that was the beginning of autoimmune disease. And it's not even easy to diagnose. My doctor completely missed it and told me it was in my head, which is why I started researching. And I really had no idea that I was living
Cheryl,
in a vat of toxins everywhere.
Can I just interrupt a minute? So, I understand what you're saying about inflammation, but let's talk about white sugar. I mean, white refined sugar is a huge problem for people as it is addictive. And the more we have, the more our body craves, yet it's so bad for us. I mean, sodas are absolutely loaded with it, aren't they? I mean, I love the chapter, and it feels good to feel good, where you list all of the things that Coca-Cola is actually good for. Can you name some of them? I love this list. It's so good. And please, Book Talk Radio Club's listeners, tell us.
Let me go back quickly to this sugar. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine. It lights up the same part of the brain that cocaine does.
Right.
When they gave rats cocaine and took it away and gave them sugar, and then took the sugar away and offered them cocaine and sugar, they took the sugar. They were completely addicted to the sugar.
Right.
And sugar destroys our gut. Again, it creates leaky gut. Leaky gut creates disease. It's not good for you. But the other interesting thing about sugar is it turns off the hormone in our brains that regulate appetite.
Right.
So I would eat a huge Thanksgiving dinner and then still be hungry. And I could go, how can this be? I just ate a meal that took 2 hours and I'm still hungry. Because this little appestat has been turned off where it's screaming more, because it's not working because of the sugar. When you detox off the sugar, which is like detoxing off of a drug, you get that back and you're not hungry all the time anymore. So it's a pretty amazing thing. The worst of all the sugars is Coke and Diet Coke. And it doesn't matter which one, whether it's real sugar or it's fake sugar, it's god-awful on the body. So the first thing about Coke and Diet Coke that's god-awful is that it's acid. And what's wrong with it being acid instead of alkaline? If your body's in an acid condition, that's when cancer gets to grow in your body.
Absolutely.
So you don't want to be drinking Coke or Diet Coke because you're creating an acid environment. You want your body to be alkaline. And so you drink lemon water in the morning so that your body stays alkaline. But what can Coke and Diet Coke? They have absolutely no redeeming value to your body at all. None. There's no food value. There's nothing that's good for you in it. But they can clean blood stains out of your clothing. You can soak pennies so that they become shiny again. You can descale your kettle with it. I love this one. You can use it to clean your toilet.
I know, I love that one.
Use it to clean your swimming pool. You can take grease stains out of your clothes and fabric. You can pour it on your floor and in the garage and get rid of all those oil stains that are there. You just wash them right out after they've soaked in Coke. It can kill slugs and snails. Think of what it's doing to your gut bacteria. You can clean your car battery terminals. You can clean your car engine with it. You can remove paint from your metal furniture with it. I mean,
it's acid.
Does it sound like it would be good to be in your body?
No, it's acid. So. That just proves how acidic it is. If it can clean the terminals on the car battery, it must be acid.
It can take the hair dye out of your hair.
Oh my
It's
God.
really sad.
So
But I have friends who would rather cut off their right arm than get rid of their Coke or their Diet Coke.
It's choice.
It's creating an environment for disease.
Yeah.
And really, you don't want to go there. I can attest to it because that's where I was. And it wasn't from drinking Coke or Diet Coke. It was probably from eating sugar and all the toxins.
Right.
So you don't want that. You can put it in burnt pans and get all that stuff right. It'll come right up after soaking for 5 minutes.
On the subject of sugar, as far as I'm concerned, it's our responsibility to look after our bodies. However, there are a great many people who totally rely on the advice of professionals, and these professionals don't seem to take the time and care to learn and understand. I'll give you an example. My husband was advised by our doctor to have blood tests for possible diabetes. He hasn't got it, thank goodness. He visited the nurse that draws blood, and she said to him, "Oh, you're having a test for diabetes. You must cut out sugar." Well, my husband is a sensible man and knows that sugar is not just the amount that you add to your tea or coffee, but the processed foods are loaded with the stuff, as is so-called diet soda. But what struck me was, why doesn't the nurse go further and educate her patients? Because she doesn't know? Because she couldn't care less? I find this really scary, to say the least.
Prepare yourself. In medical school or nursing school, at most, they get a half a day on nutrition.
You're joking. Oh
the
my
medical
God.
schools were started by the pharmaceutical companies. God, the more I read, the more I was getting gray hair in my head. So they're learning how to give pills, and guess what they do? They give pills. They listen to what's wrong with you, and the pill comes down and out the chute.
Yeah.
When they tell you to lose weight, but they don't tell you how to do it, it's because they don't know. They haven't learned anything about it.
Yes, okay.
They don't know anything about organic versus non-organic. They just aren't trained.
I accept that, but surely, if you're in that business, I'll call it a business. If you're in that business, surely it's down to you to learn, down to the person to learn what's going on, what's new, what are people thinking, what are the new things that are coming up, rather than just sticking to what you were told. Surely, I mean, it's opening your mind.
They're reading things that the medical industry is giving them to read. They're reading medical journals. They're reading tests that have been done on drugs. They are not focused on nutrition at all. And when you point that out to them, they're kind of puzzled by it. I've been talking to local hospitals, and the guy who was right before me was a dermatologist, and he handed out sun products to the people in the crowd, and I looked them up, and they were a 5 on a 10-point scale for toxins. I needed a dermatologist. I made an appointment, went and saw him, and gave him my book. And his eyes were as big as saucers when I told him what he handed out were 5 on a scale of 10.
Jeez.
He had no idea, and he said, "God, maybe I better learn about toxins."
Well, duh.
I said, "Yes, because you're working with people who have skin problems, and the most important thing you can learn is that skin is an inside job.
Yes,
because as your gut is how your skin is.
Exactly.
So he not only took my book, but he's got a copy in his lobby. It wasn't that he didn't want to share that information with his patients. He had never heard it before, honest to God. And that's true with conventional doctors. My conventional doctor had no clue what I was doing. But I found something called a functional doctor.
Yeah.
They've gone on for additional training. Most of them went on for additional training because they got sick and couldn't help themselves. That becomes the big thing that makes us all change.
Yeah.
So they got sick, they went for additional training, and they became what's known as root cause doctors. My functional doctor looked at me and said, "Good God, you're sitting on a tack. Let's go find it."
Yeah.
A conventional doctor's appointment was 6 minutes. My functional doctor's appointment is 45 minutes. And I'm like an onion. We keep peeling layers off of me, getting down to other things that are not properly running in my body.
Yeah.
Because she's looking at my whole body.
Yeah.
She's not looking at just one aspect of my body at a time. And she's not listening to the one symptom that she's going to give me a pill for.
Yeah.
She's a Yale-trained MD.
Yeah.
But she can give me pills, but that's not where she wants to go. She wants to cure the cause of my disease.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I know that when I listen to what my body wants to eat and let it guide me around the supermarket, I'm always drawn to fresh vegetables and fruit. with vibrant colours. And to me, that is food that makes me feel alive after eating it, such as, as I said, fresh vegetables and fruit. And then there's what I call dead foods, such as processed food and bread and cake. That makes me feel heavy after I've eaten it, and it makes me feel sleepy and lethargic and sluggish. However, even knowing this, I'm drawn to buying chocolate. Am I correct in thinking that chocolate is also toxic for our body? I really hope not here.
No, it is not toxic for your body. Actually, if you eat the right kind of chocolate, it's really good for you.
Okay.
You want to eat 70% or higher.
Yeah.
Preferably, you want to eat organic and fair trade.
Yeah.
And preferably, you want to eat chocolate that does not have soy lectin in it, because soy is 90% genetically modified.
Yes.
So if you do those things, then these are the benefits of chocolate. A lower risk of cognitive decline, get that out. Improvement in insulin sensitivity. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Improvement in cognitive function, reduction in perceived stress, decrease mental fatigue, enhance cognitive performance, improve visual acuity and contrast sensitivity. It's loaded with antioxidants, which are really good for the body. But it's only 70% or higher.
Right.
Non-soy related chocolate. I eat a piece of chocolate every day. It's my true delight. I actually posted an Instagram this morning because that's not an unusual question for me to get answered, and everybody sort of braces that I'm going to tell them they've got to give their chocolate up. No, they do not have to give it up. They just have to be careful what kind of chocolate they're putting into their body.
Let's talk about dairy products. I mean, I remember watching a documentary a while back called Forks Over Knives, and I was absolutely horrified when I learned how bad dairy products are for us. Why are dairy products so detrimental for one's health? And we're brought up to believe that cow's milk is wholesome and good for babies and growing children.
Well, Dr. Mark Hyman, who's the leading functional doctor here in the United States, just made a statement that milk is a perfect food for baby cows. It is not a perfect food for
baby humans.
If you're going to do dairy, I mean, there are a lot of things that were surprising about dairy. I happen to have it as a sensitivity, so I now avoid it completely. But if you're going to have dairy, you need to have raw dairy so that you're not getting all the crud that's going into our conventional animals. It needs to be raw dairy from grass-fed, grass-finished animals. It needs to be full fat, because what they do to make it low-fat or non-fat is spray milk into it, which is these little particles that are then going into our blood veins and our arteries and causing cholesterol. But I think the most astonishing thing about dairy, period, is it's an acidic fluid. So it is not giving us calcium like we've been told our entire lives. My God, is there a lot of misinformation that I grew up with.
Yes.
It actually is pulling calcium out of our bones because it's so acidic. Our body is pulling the calcium out to protect our kidneys. Because our kidneys cannot handle all of that acidic liquid going through it. So if you insist on having dairy, make sure that it's grass-fed, grass-finished raw dairy, and otherwise stay away from it because it's not good for you.
Your book talks about the negative effect the 21st century and all its toxins have on our bodies. I also believe that our thoughts affect our health too, and it's been proven that the energy from our way of thinking actually affects every cell in our body. Personally, I choose to believe that I have a healthy body and my thoughts reflect that belief. A combination of eating healthy, fresh food and being aware of the thoughts we have about ourselves will lead to a longer living, disease-free populace. What do you think?
I agree 100%. Toxins are not just about what we're putting in and on our body. It's also about our minds. I have a whole section in the book about toxin of the mind, stress, which needs to be kept under control, because if it isn't, you deplete your cortisol, which then, and it really upsets the balance of power in your gut, which then again causes disease. Ants, anxious, negative thoughts create an environment where, again, your gut bacteria balance is completely taken off balance. So you need to control that. Interestingly enough, I inherited a healthy sense of worry from my mother, and it ends up I actually had a chemical imbalance that by taking a couple of supplements, it took less than 6 months for me to go back to normal. And all of that anxious mind stuff is gone now in me. So it's important to pay attention to. exercising is critical. There is a toxic lack of exercise. Toxic relationships are important. But with all of it, mindfulness and believing that your body can heal itself, which it can, if you give your body the right healing blocks, your body can heal itself. And understanding that in your mind is a critical component to long-term health. And you're absolutely right. Your mind sets your body.
Yes.
I read a fascinating article yesterday that stress is contagious. That if you're around somebody who's creating stress, you immediately get it directly from them.
Absolutely.
In the same levels that they have.
Yeah.
So, now there's a wonderful, I'm just going to give you quick, there's a breathing exercise in my book that I love. You can look it up online. It's Dr. Andrew Weil, and it's his 4-7-8 breathing exercise. It takes 2 minutes. You do it twice a day, and it completely resets your parasympathetic nervous system. Which I then have been at my doctor's office when I've done it and done the tests, and she can't get over how fast my pulse and my blood pressure goes down just from doing that simple breathing exercise. So you control on that, believing that you are healthy, and then giving your body what it needs. It is the most sophisticated computer in the world.
Absolutely.
And it's garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it all the colors of the rainbow, which you're attracted to, each one has a gift. If you eat as local as possible so that the nutrients are in prime form when they go into your body, if you do all those things that give your body the building blocks it needs to thrive, then you thrive. Your body wants to heal. So from 5 years ago when I couldn't get out of bed, I am obviously full of vim and vigor now. So you can be that way too. You don't have to accept that. You have to feel that lousy.
You're a health coach and author of an award-winning book, and now you're being invited to speak about the subject. I'd be interested to know, from the talks you've given, what age group receives your advice the best, would you say?
I'd like to tell you that it's my age group because we're the sickest. I'm 69.
Right.
But my age group doesn't want to hear it. They think that they're going to have to give too much up. They're going to be deprived.
Yeah.
They don't even recognize that they have a problem. But the millennials and the next generation that's coming down the pike behind them, they are well aware that they don't want to feel lousy like their parents.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking, if there are kids in the neighborhood or young adults, their little ears perk right up, and I sell books to them immediately because they don't want to be sick like their parents.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm now approaching it from, do you even know how bad you feel? Are you tuned into your body to know that you're sick? Because that's where I'm going to start, because until they can read their body, they aren't going to accept that they need to change. And I've come to the conclusion that I was deprived before I started eating clean. I am anything but deprived now. I said I don't eat normal. I cook most of my food, and I cook weird because I have 18 food sensitivities.
Right.
But I was deprived, putting all of those things I couldn't pronounce into my body that were not things my body could use. So if you adopt what I'm suggesting and you cook your own organic food, and then you listen to your body will vote and tell you that you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
You won't, it's a difference from night to day.
So, Cheryl, where can Book Talk Radio Club's listeners purchase It Feels Good to Feel Good?
Well, you can buy it one of two places. You can get it on Amazon, and you can buy it either in Kindle or in paperback, and it's a big book. It's 400 pages.
I can vouch for that.
I don't want that to frighten you, because you can read the chapters you need most, and there's a little heading at the beginning, what's important about the chapter at the beginning of the book.
Absolutely.
But the place that I'd really like you to buy it is from my website, because my website is very robust with great information, including my book page, which will tell you why you need my book.
Absolutely.
And that is Cheryl with a C, mhealthmuse.com. And if you just want to go to the book page, it's /book/. From there, you can download a free chapter. You can buy the book directly from me, and I'll mail it to you. And from there, you can read all kinds of information about why it's important. And I've done 40 podcasts now. I have been involved in 7 summits. And all free gifts that I've given in the summits are now offered for free on my website.
Brilliant.
So there is an incredible amount of free information there. My goal is to help you lead a healthier life. I'm a muse because I want to inspire you to raise healthier children and to be healthier yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think my most important message is to moms, because 54% of our children now in the United States have some kind of chronic illness. I find that completely frightening. And unfortunately, the international market is using United States products that are loaded with toxins. Whether it's our agriculture, we're shipping them overseas, whether it's our food products, which are loaded with synthetic ingredients. I don't eat processed food almost at all. Our fast food has no redeeming value. For God's sake, stay away from it. If it's not something that's going to build the fantastic computer of your body to be healthy, don't eat it. You don't need it. It does you no favors.
Okay, Cheryl, I'm going to have to stop you there because we're running out of time. I just want to say thank you. That really was fascinating. And please come back on Book Talk Radio Club when you've published your next book. And I'd love to chat with you, obviously, and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future. And thank you, everyone, for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Sorry I get going.
It's
I
okay.
appreciate you're clear. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.